Welcome to the Old Man of the Three with JJ Redick and Tommy Alter, brought to you by 342 Productions. This is episode 149. Bobby Portis. Tommy, Bobby is someone that I find to be fascinating because he has really, really good production. He's found a perfect fit, and he seems to be completely at peace with where he's at in his career. There are obviously some stumbles early, but the growth, the person he is, I talked to his teammates, coaches, whatever. They all love Bobby. And this was a very fun, very insightful interview that we did with Bobby.
Well, he tells the story later in the show about how he got to Milwaukee, and can't remember many other serious championship contributors in recent memory who have found their way to the team rather than, the team calling them. Bobby, I think, understood how good this Milwaukee team was and also how good a fit he could be. And it's amazing just to get his whole sort of story and also perspective on where they are now.
Milwaukee currently sits in first place in the Eastern Conference. I want to note that Bobby right now is averaging close to a double-double, 13.7 points, 9.7 rebounds. His production has waned a little bit over his last 6 games played. He's playing just 18 minutes a game. But for all intents and purposes, the guy's averaging a double-double off the bench, which, to me, means he should get a little more pub and press around sixth man of the year, which I don't feel like he's getting right now. Brogdon has sort of been the leader there. I know there was a stretch where Westbrook was talked about when he was coming off the bench for the Lakers. Norman Powell has gotten some love. But for me, this award is like a 3-man race to me with 17 to 18 games to go. So Brogdon, Emmanuel Quickley, who has essentially came out of nowhere over the last month. And I got to say, Bobby Portis, I think those two guys are, to me, the favorites. Bobby Portis maybe on the outside looking in, but he should absolutely be in the conversation for 6th man of the year.
Quickly is a minus 170 now.
Odds on favorite.
Odds on favorite was plus 25,000 on February 24th. Yep. I don't remember a jump. I have a question for you about this particular award. 19 of the last 20 winners have been guards. Montrez in 2020 was the only exception. Is this an award in general where a guy like Bobby, a forward, just as, they may not get the benefit of the doubt that a guard would who puts up, similar numbers?
I think it's a little bit in the way teams operate with rotations and starting lineups. A lot of times and Brogdon is an exception to this, and I would actually argue that Quickley is definitely an exception to this, and I'll get to that in a minute. But a lot of times guards that can provide a scoring punch are microwaves like Vinnie Johnson. Cam Thomas currently comes to mind for someone like that, or Jamal Crawford or Lou Williams. And there are questions around their defensive ability. So they essentially get to function as the primary creator in the half court with the bench units. And sometimes they close games, sometimes they don't. So I think that's why. If you're a big and you suck at defense, you kind of don't play for some reason. Just no, I mean, I'm being, because bigs are to me, you can get, and I know you can get away with being an okay defender on the wing because if you're playing with DeAndre Jordan, Dwight Howard, Joel Embiid,
it can make up for it.
It can make up for it. That's exactly right. So I think generally you're not getting that scoring punch off the bench from bigs because a lot of them start. A lot of them that are going to play heavy minutes also have to be good defensively. Bobby, by the way, talks about his sort of defensive growth on DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, not a lot of love. 10th most best bets, 10th most handle. He opened at plus 2,500. He's now at plus 6,000. And I did a little
good value.
Well, here's the thing. Milwaukee's awesome. There's a good chance that they end up with this number 1 seed, and his contributions can't be overlooked. I did a little thing because I think it's important to note with players that come off the bench, like, what is the value towards winning? And so I just efficiency numbers, simple stuff, player efficiency rating. Brogdon at 18.5, Portis at 18.1, Quickly at 15.4. True shooting numbers, Brogdon stands out there, 62.8. The other two guys are around 57. Win shares actually Quickly leads that, but win shares per 48, again, measured by the actual time on the court. Brogdon leads that. I mentioned Quickly, and he defensively is where I think he's made his presence felt. And go back to the game I called on Sunday, Knicks at Boston, and Boston had a lead in the second half. And it was actually two defensive plays that turned that game around. It was a block on Jaylen Brown that Quickly had, and then he got a steal that led to a bucket. So what was a double-digit lead all of a sudden cut down, and then he just got going offensively in the half court. Brogdon is currently second in odds at plus 125. He's been the leader for most of the season, started at plus 2,000. I personally mentioned around November 20th when he was at plus 1,800 that this was a good bet, and that I think given how good Boston was going to be and given how much he was going to play.
Yeah.
And, it's gone from plus 1,800 to plus 120.
Shot the fuck out of the ball the whole year.
Second in the league in three-point shooting. Here's what I like about this particular award, because we talk about criteria for most improved, even criteria for for MVP. This one is the most straightforward one. Like, are you producing? Are you producing on a winning team? What's your production per minute? Are you being efficient? What's your impact? It's cut and dry.
Yeah.
There's not really a narrative around this. And for a long time, too, to your point about the guards winning, this has been about who scores the most off the bench a lot of times, or who's at the top. So like Norman Powell, for instance, like his odds have fluctuated all season. He's had a great season. But I think when you sort of get into the more the metric stuff, impact, defensive, all that stuff, it's clear to me that these three guys are the leaders in this. I personally would favor Brogdon and Quickly over Portis. I think if Portis has a great stretch here and Milwaukee continues to win, you can make an argument he's the sixth man of the year. That's how good he's been this year.
So two quickly things. Raptor grades him currently as the 9th best defensive point guard in the league, and the Knicks are 7.
Who? Brogdon?
Quickly.
Yeah.
And the Knicks are 7.9 points per game better over 100 possessions with him on the floor. My question about this as we go down the stretch, we talked on 0-3 Things this week about the Knicks and the streak they're on, everything like that. But if they, come back down to earth a little bit and they, finish, they're going to make the playoffs, but they finish 6th or something like that. How much of that does that factor in if the Celtics and the Bucks are, the clear 1-2 when you're thinking about this? Like, how much does winning matter when we're thinking about this award?
I think it matters a lot, which is, I think, my argument. If I was to say this day and I had a vote, I would vote for Brogdon. And that's not a knock on Quickly or Portis or any of the other guys we mentioned. We should mention Jordan Poole, probably going to play in start too many games. Tyrese Maxey, probably going to start too many games. Westbrook seems to have lost some momentum. The other thing about Quickly, quick stat, we may have mentioned this on the Old Man and the Three Things, our weekly show available exclusively on Amazon Music, comes out every Monday. But we talked about the Knicks and we talked about Quickly. I didn't have the stat correctly, so I didn't expand on the stat, or I didn't explicitly state the stat when we did it on Monday because I didn't have my notes in front of me. He's 3rd in opponent field goal percentage in the entire NBA for any player that has defended over 500 shots. The number 1 player is Jaren Jackson Jr. The number 2 player is Draymond Green, which means he has the highest defensive field goal percentage as the primary defender of any guard in the NBA. And that's really impressive. The other thing I want to say about Quickly, since December 20th, I want to get his stats perfect because this was the other stat we talked about on Monday. Over the last 35 games since December 20th, the team is 22-13. He's averaging 16.7, 4.1 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 49% from the field, 40.5 from 3 on 6.1 attempts. So, to your point about winning, for at least this stretch of games, huge impact on winning from Quickly. Is it enough to make up for the overall season that Brogdon has had? I don't know. I don't know, but he certainly has a lot of momentum.
I do wonder, we've talked about this with the MVP conversation, with when guys have these massive national TV games, like where the whole country is watching it, how much of an impact that might make. And I wonder, just anecdotally, with a game like Sunday, with a performance like that, how much that shifts the narrative, even though, like you just said, he's been doing this since December.
Well, I will tell you how much it shifted the narrative. He went from plus 125 to minus 170 overnight.
Yep.
So clear momentum from that nationally televised masterpiece that he had at Boston with 38 points. He's 22 years old or 23 years old. He's in his third year. Like, the Knicks got a good one there. They got a good one there.
I mean, it's a pretty good nucleus to have in the backcourt.
College hoops fans, it's time to bring the action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. This week, new customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code JJ. All new and existing customers can take a shot at cashing in big with DraftKings stepped-up parlays. Boost your college basketball winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code JJ. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Well, let's get to our conversation with Bobby Portis, one of our favorite guys in the NBA. All right, let's welcome in Bobby Portis of the Milwaukee Bucks, hailing from Little Rock, Arkansas. Bobby, what's Arkansas like? I don't meet too many people from Arkansas.
What's so crazy is Arkansas is just like Milwaukee. Ain't nothing going on. Ain't nothing to do. We just chilling. Hardworking people. Really poor people that come from there. But they work hard for everything they have. But it's similar to Milwaukee for sure.
That's nice. Working class. I love that.
Well, I like Milwaukee a little bit.
More, dude. Yeah. I gotta say,
because
I'm sure you've had this discussion with teammates over your career.
Yep.
Where you talk about the worst NBA cities, and they exist. And we're not going to name them now.
Yeah, this is definitely one of
those.
But
sometimes Milwaukee gets brought up.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was there 2.5 months. I think Milwaukee's an incredible place.
So what's crazy is I played for the Bulls my first 4 years, and nobody on the Bulls really like going to Milwaukee like that because obviously Chicago is a great city and things like that. So our vets would actually just drive down the same day of the game and go play them. And, we would never, go the day before. What I'm saying? Most times you go the day before and you get in the hotel room, get acclimated, get your body right. Guys would just come down the same day of the game and go play and go back home.
I can name one guy that I suspect did that. Jimmy.
Think of a couple.
It sounds like something Jimmy would do.
What was your college experience like with all your family there and everything like that? And then obviously you played great, SEC Player of the Year, but just the pressure of being at home, and sort of finding your own on the court.
For me, I didn't really have any pressure because that's it was my dream to play for the Razorbacks. In Arkansas, we don't have an NBA team, we don't have an NFL team, we don't have pro sports there, so when you play for the Razorbacks, it's like you're in the pros. Everybody treats it like the pros. We go to the gas stations where we're from. You see all Arkansas stuff. So that's all I ever seen. So with me, it wasn't any pressure, but it was great for my mom because obviously our situation was our situation. We didn't really have anything. We didn't really have a lot of money and things like that. So it was easy for my mom to come watch me play in college and for my little brothers to come experience it as well. And just all those memories I cherish forever. Coach Anderson was great for me. I got a chance to, play with him, play for him, and he was a great coach for me. He just let me do what I wanted to do, low key on the court. Just gave me the green light to do what I wanted to do to help my career, help me get to the NBA and things like that. And I'm forever grateful for him.
You're visiting us on Monday, February 27th.
Yes, sir.
Just some context because we're not sure when we're putting this episode out, so we want to provide the audience with some context. And you guys are on a 14-game winning streak. You won yesterday in Phoenix. I was part of some double-digit win streaks. I think I had one with Orlando. I know I had one with the Clippers. My first year with Philly, we won 16 regular season games in a row, and then won the first game of the playoffs. So we had a 17-game win streak. When you're in the middle of the win streak, what is that sort of like for you the vibe of the team, the mentality, and sort of the feel going into a game?
So I think right before we started our win streak, we had some really lows. The end of December was probably like a tough time for us because we were going through a period where guys were injured. Guys were in and out the lineup. We didn't have any consistency in the lineup. Different starting fives a lot and things like that. And then once the new year hit, it was like Coach Bud was implementing like, okay, like what are we gonna do? Like, are we gonna be who we are and play how we are and things like that? Or are we just gonna just lay down and get punked? Like, we were like, get punked? Like, what do you mean get punked? Like, what are we talking about? So then it was just kind of crazy how everything just came together. I think a big reason is because our chemistry and our camaraderie, obviously throughout the season, the 82-game season is really built on just finding your chemistry, finding your camaraderie for the playoffs and things like that. And when we found that, we got to rolling. Every game is different, obviously. No game is going to be the same. Guys, we have a different amount of guys on our team that can have moments. That's what the playoffs is built on as well. Obviously, you have your 3 stars like us, Jrue, Chris, and Giannis, but we have other guys on our team that's capable of having moments. And throughout our win streak, we've had different guys step up and have those moments within the win streak to keep it going.
Great example of that. Friday night, you had a double-double. Yesterday, Giannis out of the lineup. Brook has a double-double. Jrue has a big game. You mentioned the word camaraderie. And one of my observations from the outside, and I've talked privately with Jrue about this a little bit, but not really in depth, is I would describe it as like a lack of drama, a lack of distraction with your team.
Absolutely.
And when you have a star like Giannis, that to me is very rare.
No, obviously camaraderie, man, you need that in the long run. Like, I think one thing that really helps our team, for real, bro, is like, we're not the LAs of the world, we're not the New Yorks of the world, we're not the Chicagos of the world. There's not much media attention built on surrounding the Bucks. Like, we're on a 14-game win streak and shit, nobody's talking about it for real. Like, quite frankly, like, they say it here and there, but I think they're more worried about the drama-filled things that go on in the other cities. We don't have drama-filled environment. Like, it's a great working environment. Like, guys come in, can get better, play their role. I think everybody on our team knows what they have to do on a nightly basis to help the team be the best we can be for the betterment of the team, sacrificing for the betterment of the team. So I think our camaraderie, just comes from that. And then when you have one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world, that's, a hard worker like he is, a selfless guy like he is, that, dedicates himself on a daily basis. I think that just kind of makes you sacrifice in your role as well.
In fairness, Tommy, you can pop in here, but in fairness, I just want to let you know that Tommy and I talked about you guys on the podcast this morning.
Okay, cool.
So
that's a little bit. Yeah, we talk about you guys.
It is true though.
That's a win. That's a win.
You don't get as much hype as you should for being on a 14-game winning streak.
I didn't watch any television today, partially because I took a red eye from Denver last night.
Yeah. And
as soon as we got done recording the morning podcast, I took a nap and then prepped for this. And I would guess that on any major network, the discussion points today were about LeBron's injury, Jason Kidd's post-game comments, and the Mavs collapse. Probably very little airtime discussing the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's one of the issues I have with the way we cover our sport.
It's okay though. Like, we don't really care about that. Like, I think in our culture, in our environment, it's all about us. We don't really care about what the media says, what, outside people think about what we have going on. I think we just kind of carry ourselves on a daily basis, just trying to build good habits. That's one thing that, is preached on a daily basis, is building good habits for the betterment of the team, knowing that, we're fighting for something bigger than just the now, but taking it a day at a time and working hard as we can each and every day just to get better. I think that's what we just focus on. We don't really care about. Obviously, it's fun going on a 14-game win streak and this and that, but at the same time, we just try to take it a day at a time.
When it comes to some of the selflessness, I mean, with Jrue and Chris in particular, this is our podcast is kind of like the Jrue Holiday fan club. But Brook,
I'm a big fan. I'm a fan as well.
But Brook, I mean, you're an example of this. Brook is an example of this. You can go down the roster. There's a bunch of examples of this. Like, you guys lock up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Drew's known for his defense. He'll put up. I think we said the stat today was you guys are 6-0 when he scores more than 30. But like
6-0.
Yeah, he's known for his defense. Chris is a super underrated defensively, as we've seen in the playoffs and everything like that. And so is that sort of a case where because you're making your mark on the defensive end, it almost doesn't matter who's getting 35 a night because everybody sort of has the same goal there?
Yeah, I just think that, when it comes down to it, we just try to play random. That's one thing Coach Bud says all the time. Shout out Coach Bud, by the way. But we just try to play random on offense, move the ball side to side, DHOs. Obviously, we have two different type of lineups that we can put out there, different type of schemes and things that we can run on the offensive end. But I think defense is what we hang our hats on because obviously defense comes down. That's whoever plays the best defense is going to win the championship. I think the year we won it, we didn't shoot the ball well at all from three or anything, but we kind of hung our hats on the defensive end, and that helped us close in on that finals run that year. But defense is definitely one of those things that can help you, go on a long run in the playoffs. And one thing that we, try to, do differently this year, we've been trying different schemes, different lineups, different, switching 1 through 5 and things like that, because obviously you can't just give great players just a heavy dose of the same thing all game. You have to give them different looks.
We discussed this morning, and it's a point of topic or a topic of discussion that has been brought up a few times. You guys do win on your defense because the offensive numbers, I think you're still in the bottom third in the league.
It's been a rough year
in offense. Well,
it's been kind of rough.
I mean, outside of Javon and Brook, and Drew shot better relative to his career. Like, there's been some wild regressions in a negative way.
I definitely haven't shot the ball well from three this year.
I didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
But, specifically with Jrue, and I played with him and played against him for a decade. What stands out the most defensively with him? Because I think he's a generational defensive player that probably doesn't get enough credit because of the way that
Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I mean, if he wins another chip, he's probably on his way, right? But I think the way we sort of use advanced metrics to measure defensive impact, because there's such an emphasis on defensive rebounding, that he doesn't necessarily get his due in that sort of that sphere.
Yeah. So like Jrue, he's a crazy defensive player. I think one thing that he does crazy is like his anticipation is just unreal. Like he can close out. Like I think two of the hardest things in NBA right now is obviously pick and roll defense is hard. Pick and roll defense is probably one of the things that, as a big and as a guard, it's really 2-on-2 in the middle, and it's really tough. I think all the guys know that. And then the second thing is closing out to a guy that can, with a live dribble and they can shoot. Jrue kind of closes out, and he almost always guesses which way the guy's going to go. And then when the guy goes that way, he's good at like the strip. Like he closes out and then he chops. It's crazy. Like just watching him do it on a daily basis, how good he is with his hands, how intelligent he is, with his IQ and things like that. He's great, and just being around those guys just make you just want to play defense. Like especially with Brook and Jrue and those guys in the 2-on-2 pick and roll, we just stay home, man. They gonna handle it.
Yeah, you guys have placed more of an emphasis this season on staying home because you've always played that heavy drop coverage with Brook. But you still pulled in and helped, and you guys were bottom of the league for a few years in terms of giving up threes, or at least bottom three. You made that reference to Drew's anticipation. I still remember a very specific play early in his career. He was on Philly, I was still on Orlando, and it was exact description of what you're talking about, where he closed out on me, and this is what he does, I think, better than anybody on the ball on a dribble. But he stands you up. Like he anticipates, so you go, and then he's so physical and strong, you kind of stand up. And I remember he cut off my closeout, and I was kind of like, nah, fuck that, I'm gonna get by him. And then on that second dribble, He ripped me.
It's
and then
crazy.
at that point on, I was like, you know what? I'm going to use screen. I'm going to play off the ball against Jrue. I'm going to make him chase me. Because on the ball, for me, that was not a good matchup.
This is my third year with him, bro. And it's crazy because, like, I've seen him do this over, like, 100 times. And, like, me and Javon was talking, like, on the bench yesterday when we played against the Suns. And we like, bro, like, I feel like Jrue is getting better. Like, every week it's like he's showing us something different. Like every week, like he's definitely one of the most underrated players in our league that doesn't get a lot of credit for what he does to impact winning. That's the biggest thing. Like as a basketball player, obviously stats is one thing. You can average 25 and 10, whatever it is. But with me, like it's all about impact and winning. Like Jrue's impact on winning is second to none.
Do you think do you think it's accurate that the two sort of your two highlights of the final series against the Suns were defensive plays?
Yeah, for sure.
And the dunk, and in the block, and Giannis's block.
Yeah. Which one was better? You think the Jrue steal with the lob and the look at the camera from Giannis? Think that was better, or Giannis's?
I mean, the block.
The
block is pretty insane.
I think Giannis's block.
That was crazy, though, right?
Pretty crazy.
If it's not the best playoff block in modern NBA,
over LeBron,
it's the second best.
Over
to LeBron. That's what I'm saying. But
LeBron's got to be one though, right?
The thing is, they both saved obviously there was more time left, but they both prevented a potential clutch basket, last minute or so of the game.
So like, what's so crazy about that? We was on the bench. Obviously, it's a big possession because they score. I think they go up, and then he hedges on the pick and roll. Like I don't think like as a basketball fan how like I don't think fans understand like how hard that is to do. Like I think we kind of underappreciate some of the things that basketball players and athletes in general just can do, because it's their job and it's what they expect. They expect greatness from great players, and this and that. But like to be up on the pick and roll and to stop Book on the pick and roll and then recover and to block the shot, that's so tough. Like I don't think as a fans we appreciate like, you know what I'm saying, like the things that athletes can do.
Yeah, I mean, just to explain it a little bit more in detail, when you play drop coverage, the big's job is essentially to not allow the roll man to get behind.
Yeah, you're playing two.
And in this situation, Book's coming off. He's got a step on his primary defender. And as he kind of goes up into that gather, Giannis actually takes a step up.
Oh. So the lob is open.
Yeah. And then he makes the recovery. I mean, I've seen Gobert do it, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen anyone else do it that way.
But that moment, like,
was the moment,
like game 3 or 4, pivotal game we really needed. And for him to make that is crazy, man. We talk about all the great things that I've seen from him, like, I think some of the best things that comes in practice. Like some of the things he does in practice, I think all guys have, stories about some of the things that guys do in practice that's unseen, and some of the things he does. I remember like in the finals, bro, he got hurt in the Hawks series in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we didn't know how long he was going to be out. We fly to Phoenix, and obviously his knees hurt. We think he's going to be out a week or something, so we got to fight through a week, and hopefully he'll come back for like a game 5 or game 6 or something like that. In the first practice, he's just running and jumping, and he's Giannis again. And, and Jrue was like, "Bro, what is wrong with you? Like, are you okay, bro? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, the first play, like we like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we do 5-on-0s, go through the practice, go through the plays, and we thought he was gonna do like a little layup, and he just dunked. I'm just trying my legs out, see how they feel, see how my legs feel."
I think Giannis and Bron are the two guys that recover faster than maybe yesterday in that Dallas game where LeBron's grabbing his foot.
He said,
I heard it pop.
I heard it pop, yeah. And then he proceeds to
close
come
it
back
out
from 27. That's crazy.
March means nonstop college hoops action. It all starts with the conference tournaments. Who will earn their bid into the biggest tourney of the year, and who will be left waiting? Join the excitement and make your bets with DraftKings Sportsbook.
New customers can bet just $5 on a pregame money line and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, All new and existing customers can take a shot at cashing in big with DraftKings stepped up parlays. Boost your college basketball winnings with each leg you add up to 100%.
Tommy, I'll obviously be watching the ACC tournament. I also want to give a shout out to Chris Collins at Northwestern. That Big Ten tournament is going to be crazy. Northwestern's had an outstanding season. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code JJ. Bet $5 on any college hoops pregame money line and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code JJ. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. This time of year is a sports fan's paradise. The NBA is on the home stretch. The best college basketball teams are gearing up to battle for the championship title, and not to mention March Madness. How do you keep up with all the scores, stats, and excitement? Smart News.
Smart News aggregates local and global stories from trusted publishers so you can stay informed of what matters most to you, from local weather to trending TV shows, all in one app. Trusted by over 50+ million worldwide readers, Smart News scans stories, analyzes headlines, and partners with respected publishers to deliver information that helps you live smarter. Say goodbye to information overload and hello to saving time and getting straight to the news you care about. Easily personalize your feed by following top publishers, adjusting notifications, and getting alerts in your area all in one app.
Smart News has big stories from top publications to keep you in the know on everything from global and national news to real-time local alerts and personalized feeds for sports fans. Download Smart News for free today in the App Store to get the news that matters most. Search for it in the Apple App Store for your iPhone or iPad, or Google Play Store for Android users. Your news, your way. Discover the all-in-one app that delivers the information you need to live smarter. One of the interesting things about you guys to me is the fact that you play two big lineups.
Yep. And
that has primarily gone away. You can point to some teams that play it frequently, infrequently. Cleveland comes to mind as a team that starts two bigs. I looked up your lineup data today. Your team's 8 most used lineups feature 2 of you, Brook Lopez, and Giannis.
Yep.
So almost at all times, you guys have 2 bigs on the court. Why do you think you're able to make that work? Your team's able to make that work?
Because me and Brook can shoot threes. No, I'm playing, but that's really what it is. Around Giannis, you got to have guys that can stretch the floor and be a threat on the three-point line that can essentially stop the wall. We see Giannis sees the wall a lot, but we play with him, so we see it as well. The wall is real. We actually seen guys like lock arms. Like it's crazy. I've seen like 3 guys across the free throw line like lock arms, and you have to have guys that can stretch the floor, that can open that up, so he has driving lanes to the rim and things like that. But I think we can play with him because we can stretch the floor, we can knock down the 3, and we can post up as well. So, you have to have 3 or 4 guys on the court essentially that can stretch the floor for him to be the best that it's the best that he can be.
We've talked about Brook being potentially in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation.
He is the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, so maybe he is. I mean, he's in it today. Yeah. What do you think makes him so good at that end of the court?
He allows our defense. He allows people to gamble on defense. He allows us to extend the floor. He allows us to take a little more risk than most teams would do. We gamble a lot sometimes. We try to stay as solid as we can, but if there's if there's opportunity that presents itself, I think we try to go for it. And knowing that big fella's back there, he's always going to be at the rim. He don't care about getting dunked on. He don't care about nobody trying to do nothing. He's going to be there every time. And he's mad at you if you foul your man before he comes to him. So don't foul him. But definitely, like, we can gamble a lot more. I know I try to gamble a little bit, try to get a little easy 2 points or something, because I know big fella always there. But I think his communication is great. Being around him for these last 3 years has definitely made me a better player. Just because, he's always active. He uses his hands. He's always in the paint. He touches the guy just so he can release his 3 seconds, so he doesn't get a 3-second call, 5-second call in the paint and things like that. So he's a great defensive player. Definitely worthy of Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know how the voting goes and things like that, but he definitely should be up there.
I mean, I think it's him or Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
Right, at this point.
Yeah.
But we got 20 games left.
But they said Jaren Jackson blocks not be real though.
They debunked that. They did debunk that.
Okay.
They debunked that.
I was gonna. So Brook is he's been on the show before. He's one of the funniest guests. He and his
Great
brother are
guy.
the funniest guests. Do you have any off the court Brook stories?
Man, so me and Brook, man. So what's crazy is, I played with Robin Lopez as well. I played with Robin in Chicago, and me and Robin had this handshake. Like we do our handshake, this and that, and I brought it to Brook, and I started doing it with Brook. So one day in the game when we finally played, Robin, I think he's with the Magic at the time. I think my first year on the Bucks, he's with the Magic, and I was like, hey Brook, come over here with Robin, man. Come holler at him. Let's go holler at Robin. So I did the handshake with him. He was like, no way. You know that too? And I'm like, yeah, man, that's my boy Robin, man. And then from there on, he's just been like my brother, man. He's a great guy, man. All the things he does. He invited me to his house in Orlando and things like that. Hang out with him. He's a good dude.
That was a great impersonation. I want to give, going back to the too big conversation, because I think it's interesting the way that you guys have built around Giannis.
Yep.
And I know the Pelicans probably have a similar. Giannis and Zion are different players, and obviously Zion's got to get healthy. But I think it's a similar concept in terms of how you want to build around Zion, how you want to build around Giannis. You got to give a shout out here to John Horst.
Absolutely.
Because
that's my guy.
No, but listen, I think about this. I think about with both you and Brook Lopez. You came over on a minimum deal, basically. Yeah. Brook came over.
How I got to Milwaukee?
I want to hear it, but I think Brook came over on, he signed for the biannual, I think, his first year, coming off that Lakers season. So John was able to sort of identify guys that could be potentially big.
I called Milwaukee.
Did you really?
Milwaukee. They never called me first. I swear, it's crazy. So,
you were coming off Knicks.
So, I signed a 2-year deal with the Knicks, and my second year was team option. At the time, that was the biggest deal I had. In free agency that year, when I signed with the Knicks, I thought I was gonna get paid. Thought I was gonna have a teams offering me big money and big deals and things like that. Obviously, I was on stinker teams where guys don't really respect stats like that if your team didn't win. I didn't know that at the time. I was a young 22, 23-year-old, just trying to find his way in the league, just trying to find my name, this and that. So I say I'm just signing with the team with the most money, trying to make some money for myself and my family. Signed with the Knicks, thinking I'm going to get my second year picked up. Then a pandemic happens. Damn, pandemic. Then we don't make the bubble. And then I'm at home for 8-9 months, just working on my game, really not knowing what's next. But I know that my team option not going to get picked up because I didn't really play up to my own, not potential, but I didn't play up to what I thought I was going to play up to. And I know they didn't as well. So didn't have the best of the year, but I had spurts where I showed promise, but it wasn't just a good year overall for me. So then when they turned down my option, I'm like, okay. I watched Milwaukee in the playoffs. I think I can bring something different to the table that I don't think they had nobody on the team that was like me. So I'm like, hit my agent up. I'm like, what do you think about Milwaukee? He's like, Milwaukee? But they don't have any money. And I'm like, all right, cool, you're right. So he was like, oh yeah, these other teams, they sign you for 2 years, but the second year's gonna be team option. I'm like, man, what about Milwaukee? And he's like, why Milwaukee? I was like, hey man, what about Milwaukee, man? Can I get Giannis's number or something? Does anybody have Giannis's number? So called him myself and was like, hey, yo, Yarn, you don't know me, bro. I don't know you. But, bro, I promise I can help y'all win a championship, bro. And 6 months later, we won the championship. It's one of the craziest stories ever, bro. I signed with them in November of 2020. In July of 2021, literally, what's that, 6-7 months later?
Yeah, 7-8 months, yeah.
We won the chip.
That is an amazing. I actually got chilled when you said that.
It doesn't happen very often.
No, right? It doesn't always work like that in the NBA. But we should note, no disparaging your agent here. Mark Bartelstein.
Shout out Mark Bartelstein,
one of the greatest agents
guy.
of all time.
Yes, sir.
You know, one of the problems with Mark, he's just trying to get his guys paid.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
He's good at that. He's good at that.
I told him at the time, like, man, it's not about the money right now. Like, I need to get my name back going. I need to get my image. Like, everybody has this. Like, everywhere I go, it's like everybody looking at me crazy. Like, I'm a good dude. But like, I bet my name been tarnished just because of things that I went through early on in my career. But like, I can really play basketball at a high level. I can help impact winning, but I just never been on a good team that was showcased for me to showcase it. Like, nobody's watching WGN, Chicago networks. Nobody's watching, you know, like these MSG networks if it's not on, you know, TNT or ESPN like frequently, so they can see what I can really do. So I want to get to a winning culture that can help me do that.
Yeah, I think this is not unique to you.
Yeah.
Where there are players who are in losing environments.
Man.
And obviously your rookie year, I think you guys were 42-40, but after that you played on losing teams. And you put up numbers, and then you get labeled sort of as a losing player. You're, you know, good stats, bad team guy,
empty
right?
Stats.
Yeah, empty stats.
Empty
exactly.
Stats.
And
heard that a lot.
You know, I know we don't have to go into detail here, but on top of that, you had the incident your second year with Nikola Mirotic, where you guys got in a fight. And so for you, I think that probably
and that wasn't our first time doing that as well.
It wasn't.
Nah, everybody did that on the Bulls. That was what the culture.
That was the culture then.
Yeah, that was the culture. Yeah, everybody got into a little scuffle.
Turk, by the way, Hedo Türkoğlu was on the Players Tribune, the Knuckleheads podcast with Q Rich. Q and I played together as well. And Turk told this story. It came out today. This is the guy, he used to, if I was playing too hard in practice, he would tell me to stop. I'm a young player. I'm not getting any minutes. Practices, and this is when we practice. You know, we're wearing knee pads and taped ankles, and like practice was my time to shine. And so the first time he gave me a warning. First time he said, Stop playing so hard. Stop fouling me. You know, whatever. He's like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Sound like a good vet.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't respond. And then the next time he caught the ball, he literally caught it, made sure I was guarding him, and he elbowed me in the side of the head.
Side of the head?
Yeah. So probably 2 months later, now it's like a thing that I'm going at his ass in practice, and we're like, whatever. Now, like 2 months later, I get a fast break, and he undercuts me, his own teammate, on purpose. And luckily I didn't get hurt. Brian Hill throws him out of practice. Then the next year, same thing happened. This time we're at shoot around. We had live shoot arounds. I was going hard, whatever. This time, no warning. Elbow me again. So I get a black eye. So I go to lunch with my parents. I got a black eye. But like that was, I think that, I mean, I got scraps. I never punched anybody, but like Carlos Arroyo and I got into it one time. Brian, I think that was more common, and it never leaked back then.
Yeah.
Like now somebody gets into something, but obviously if a player gets hurt and hospitalized, like it's going to leak. That's going to leak.
Absolutely. And then, you know, the social media had just started to take off big then too. Like when I first got into the league, you know, even when I got drafted, I said like, fuck D Rose or something like old on my Twitter, and when I got drafted, it just went viral because I was a big time like Miami Heat fan, and I love the Heat. I love the Heatles. Shout out LeBron and them, by the way, too. Like that was one of my favorite teams as a kid, and I didn't like the Bulls because they was like their competitors, you know. And then I got drafted by the Bulls, and I have all these old tweets about Pau Gasol and D Rose, and now these guys are my teammates. Like it was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy, like crazy as hell. Like so, like the social media part definitely took off at that time and things like that. And it was just one of those situations where like me and him got into a little back and forth on the court. We going back and forth, this and that. I score, he scored, I scored, he scored, and it was like me. And then he didn't like that, and then he ran up on me, pushed me, and this and that. But it was one of those things that definitely a life learning lesson for me, made me better as a person, better as a basketball player as well, because then after I came back from suspension, I really had to like show people like what my worth was and that I can really play. And it was like a blessing in disguise for real, because I got a chance just to go out there and just try to beat some adversity. But during the time, it definitely tarnished my name, tarnished my reputation, tarnished my image. So I'm just so forever grateful for Milwaukee, being able to come here, being able to clean my name up, clean my image up, show guys like I'm more than just what the media made me out to be. and I kind of beat those barriers. So guys in their careers, they don't really get a chance to do that. So I'm kind of grateful that I did.
Did you feel like you had to carry that with you until Milwaukee, basically, which I think is, 5, 4, 3, half a season, second year. So basically 3.5 seasons, you carried that around with you till you got to Milwaukee?
For sure. Like, here I go, they were like, oh, that's the guy, like, stay away from him. Like, oh, that's Portis. He's his teammates. That's Portis. He sucker punch such and such. Like, I got all these bad names. I'm like, damn, I ain't do none of that, bro. Like, it wasn't nothing like that. Like, it wasn't nothing like that, and I definitely had to carry it with me, for a long time. And still to the day, I get a couple questions from it, but it's not how it used to be.
Right.
It's more about basketball and more about the business side of Bobby Portis and who I am as a man on and off the court now. And, winning just makes everything better. Like, once we start winning, it made everything better for me. And forever grateful for the city of Milwaukee. Love that city to death, and it definitely changed my life on and off the court.
Tommy, I don't know if I've told you this before, but it was when I was with the Ringer. So I don't remember if it was this season or the following season, because I know it was when I was with Philly.
Yeah.
And I was in warm-ups, layup lines or whatever, and this dude comes over to me, and he's like, yo, let me come on the podcast.
So you were still in Chicago at that point?
I think I was Chicago. Yeah. Yo.
Because it was when I was over there.
Let me get on there, man.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's crazy you remember that, bro. That's crazy.
I remember everything, Bobby. I remember everything.
How much in both Chicago and in New York compared to the Milwaukee experience? So much of your game is based on hustle, effort, and just like, offensive rebounds, second chance points, things like that. But people don't necessarily.
I get some buckets too now.
You get some buckets and you can shoot, but people don't necessarily
left
notice
block,
that when you don't
put
win.
Him on the left block.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you guys lose 55 games a year, no one's gonna be like, oh, he does this. It contributes to winning. And so with your game in particular, is that. We always talk about like winning players in the show and guys who do things who maybe doesn't show up in the stat sheet.
Yeah.
And it's like, you clearly are that, but it might be hard to show that on a team where like you don't have the right pieces around you.
And like when I was on stinker teams and things like that, like nobody really cared about my offense. They were just like, oh, he can't play defense. I feel like anybody that can score the basketball a little bit, oh, he can't play defense. He can't play this. He can't do this and that. Like nobody really talked about nothing else I did. And then at the same time, it's tough like to impact winning on teams that don't win. Like you try to impact winning, but it doesn't translate to winning. And then at the same time, it's just tough playing on teams like that because obviously I'm forever grateful for the experience. I'm forever grateful for the highs and lows that my career has given to me. Would never take any of that for granted because without any of that, I wouldn't know like what not to do in certain situations and things like that. But at the same time, I remember like sometimes on teams, like I've been on teams where like coach be like, don't shoot before the 12 seconds on the shot clock. Like what? What do you mean, bro? 12 seconds.
I need to know who that coach is.
Oh, yeah, you gonna say their name? I'm gonna shoot it for 12 seconds on the shot clock.
I'll say some names. You just wink at me, okay?
And then I've been on teams where like, oh yeah, man, you're gonna play the first quarter and the third quarter. So like, what do you mean? We're gonna only play the first and the third quarter. So like, obviously we're tanking. So like, we're trying to get a high draft pick, and you get caught into that. So it definitely it's definitely tough, but at the same time, I love Coach Bud to death. I know some people don't like him and whatever for whatever reasons, but for me personally, like he brought the best out of Bobby. You feel me? Like he brought the best out of me. Like he challenged me differently in my NBA career. What I was always used to as a kid, like I was always used to a coach like pushing you and challenging you to do better, to be better than what you were. And I'm forever grateful for him for sure.
I know I said this to you before we were on air, but I've had 2 Bucks games this year.
Yep.
And
you had the one in Toronto too.
Yes,
right?
that when you guys blew that lead.
Yeah.
But you won the game.
You still won.
You won the game.
Still won.
I'm not sure why Grayson was
wide open.
Why he was nut tapping Gary Trent on a 3-point shot.
Shout out to the Dukies. The Duke guys.
No, but when I was with Bud, we get 10-15 minutes with every coach before the game, and I think it was the Toronto one. I asked about you, and before he started talking about your play and your game, he was talking about you, the person, and how much joy he got out of being around you every day, and what a great teammate you are. And going back to your point about your previous situations, again, no judgment here.
Yeah.
There's no judgment here. But I do think it is common in the NBA where a player is drafted to an organization that maybe doesn't have the right pieces.
The right culture.
Right. Front office, players, coaches, whatever. I mean, I go through, like, you had Fred Hoiberg your first 3 years, then Fred Hoiberg gets fired early in the season. You have Jim Boylan. Then you get traded that year. You're with Scotty, who I love, Scott Brooks.
Shout out Scott Brooks.
Yeah, 3 coaches in 1 year. Then the following year, you go to New York. David Fizdale, you guys start 4-18. He gets fired. And then Mike Miller, not the agent, but Mike Miller, the coach, he takes over for the rest of the way. So it feels like
coaches, bro.
I know what I'm saying. It feels like the journey to get to stability,
man,
it's not always like this linear path, and it doesn't always happen right away.
Man, it doesn't, man, and like you can't put a tab on the journey in the NBA. Like the journey is going to be the journey. The highs and lows that's going to be brought in your career. You can't put a tab on that. You can't put a tab on which team you get drafted to. You just don't know what's going to happen once you get drafted. Once you get drafted, everything's everything. Family's happy, you're happy. Your NBA dreams is finally reality, and then reality sets in, and you might get DNPs to start your career. Like, I didn't know what that was to start my career. Like, I'm like, what's a DNP? I've always been one of the best players on my team. Like, in high school, highly rated recruit, top 15 recruit, McDonald's All-American. Go to my college team, I'm starting, I'm player of the year. Get to the NBA, I'm DNP CD. Like, what is that? And then you have to work out after practice. After the game, sprint on the treadmill. Like, and then the culture might not be for you. It might not be a winning culture. So all the things that you go throughout your career, I'm forever grateful for, because it definitely made me a better player and better person on and off the court.
Yeah, I was for the most part in very good cultures, and early in my career when I wasn't playing, there was nothing wrong with culture, and the shock to the system of the DNP CD, it never gets old. Like, I could know that I was not going to play. Like, I'm out of the rotation. I've been out of the rotation for 7 games. That 8th game, I'm preparing like I'm going to play. And it's the same disappointment, whether it's the 8th straight DNP CD or the 40th straight.
It hurts, man. And like, I remember like my first 7 or 8 or 10 games, like, it was all DNP CDs, like, to start the year. And I had a great preseason to start. Like, that 2015-16 season, I had a great preseason. I think I averaged a double-double in preseason, whatever it was. But sometimes it's just not your time. And credit to I had great vets. I had Joakim Noah, had Taj Gibson. Like, those are, I can call those guys right now. They're going to pick up and still talk to me like I'm their rook. What up, rook? This and that, rook. Still rook to them. But I had great vets that always told me to stay ready. Like, things happen in this league. Players get traded. Players get hurt. Your time is going to come at some point. There's 82 games. Guys going to take rest days. You got to be ready. And once your number's called, you got to be ready to show the coach that you can hoop and that, that you can fill a spot and help the team win.
Do you think energy can be taught or coached?
Nah, it's a talent. Like, I don't drink coffee. Like, I've never had a cup of coffee.
Red Bull, Gatorade juice, energy juice.
I like the yellow Red Bull.
Okay.
But I don't drink it every day though.
Okay.
Yeah, every now and then. But I just feel with energy, and I don't think it's something that can be taught. Like, no coach just has to tell me to be ready to go play basketball. Like, no coach has to get me fired up to go play. I'm fired up to go play because I love to play the game, for one. For two, I love to see my mom and my little brothers' environment and their lives change from where we used to be. And then for three, this is my job, and I'm going to do everything I can to go out there and just be the best I can on a daily basis, whether shots are going in, whether they're not. I'm going to give it 110% each and every day. And I think when I bring energy to the game and to my teammates, it's contagious, and I think they feel that.
You're averaging right now a double-double on as of today, the second best team in the NBA. And you've started games, 15 games as a starter, 16 and a little under 11 rebounds a game. As a reserve, in 24.8 minutes, 34 games this year as a reserve, 13.6 points, 9.7 rebounds, basically a double-double in 24 minutes a game. When people talk about the sixth man of the year, there's a lot of names get thrown around. The guy I think that is deservedly so is Malcolm Brogdon with the Boston Celtics. He's had a phenomenal season. Why do you think you're not getting as much love? But by the way, for the intro to the show, we're going to give you all the love you need.
It's all good.
Why do you think that is?
'Cause I'm a big man. I feel like sixth man of the year or sixth man is like for a small guard that gets a lot of buckets, small guard that scores a ball or something like that. But I think like when you think of sixth man, like what's the criteria for it? Like what should be the criteria for sixth man? Should it be impact and winning? Should it be a guy that's getting buckets as well but still on a good team? Like for me, I don't know what the criteria is, but I think I fit whatever that criteria is that they want it to be. I think I come in impact winning. I think I help the team in each and every way that I can. I rebound the ball at a high level. I score the ball as well. Obviously, my three-point shooting percentage is down from previous years, but still let that shit fly as well whenever it's in my hand. Shoot that shit with confidence as well. And, I think I do everything to be a sixth man and to be considered as the sixth man of the year. But it is what it is. I take what it is. I know what comes with it. I don't really get a lot of respect around the league. I just got put in the top 100 in Ringers, top 100 as well, like a month ago as well. So, it's all good. But I definitely do want to win sixth man of the year. I've been talking about that for like 4 or 5 years now, and it's kind of like I'm kind of like right there with it.
Yeah, I should also note you have on Friday you had your 30th double-double of the season in 49 games. That's top 10 most double-doubles in the NBA this year. I did a little exercise today, and we're going to go
10?
Top 10 in NBA and double-doubles coming off the bench. I just want to
be like 8 of those, probably 8 or 9 of the top 10 are probably all-stars too.
Yeah. I just
just throw that out there.
It's valid. Valid. But I did a little exercise earlier this afternoon, and when we do our intro, I'll update all these stats. But the gist of it is, of the guys that are talked about for sixth man, Brogdon, Maxey, Norman Powell, Russ, and you, I basically went through every impact stat I could, and it's very clear that it's either you or Brogdon. Like the other guys, not a knock on them, but when you talk about impact, I think it's you two that have had the most impact on winning in that role this season. So we're going to hype it up, bro. We're going to hype it up.
I'm with that, man. Shout out Malcolm Brogdon as well, though, man. He's had a hell of a year. I watch a lot of Celtics games, obviously, because that's who eliminated us last year. I like to watch their games and what they do and their schemes and things like that, and he's definitely be hooping for sure.
Tommy, it's the perfect segue to what I wanted to finish on, and that is last year's Boston, Milwaukee, Eastern Conference semifinals.
Absolutely.
Which was a phenomenal series that went 7 games. Yeah. There were insane performances all around. What is the thing that, obviously Chris being out, but what is the thing in terms of the competition, the back and forth of that series? What is the thing that stands out the most to you?
Man, it wasn't about like skill sets. It wasn't about who's the best. It wasn't about Giannis and Tatum. It was about like who wanted it more. About the 50-50 balls. Like sometimes I think as watching basketball, I think we get caught up in like just the stars, like watching like Giannis dunk, throw off the backboard, or Tatum score 46 in game 6, whatever it was. But like I think what came down to like who won the series was like I think they kind of got more 50-50s than we did. They got extra possessions, and things like that. And that kind of like stood out to us and still does. They got the loose balls. They got the effort plays. Like the energy plays is what, helps you win as well. And I think they got more of those than us. And shit, man, we didn't hit any threes in the series. I think they shot the shit out the ball. They hit way more threes than us. I think they had X amount of points more than we did from 3-point land. That stood out as well. But it was a great series to play in. Definitely would love to do that again with them if it matches up with that. And, I think that was great for TV, man. Great for ratings, great for TV, great to be a basketball player in that environment. Because, as a basketball fan of the game, shit, I watched Game 7s and Game 6s my whole life. Like, you watch that in April, May, and June, and for us to be in it, it was great. It was a fun time. I think the worst part of it was losing Game 6 and was like, fuck, man, we gotta go back to Boston Game 7. We won Game 1 there. We won Game 5. Damn, we gotta come win Game 7. It didn't happen, but it was one of those things that definitely hurt when we lost. Cause to win the championship one year, then the next year to lose in the second round, like 2 totally different feelings.
Yeah. I always say the hardest playoff series that I ever played in was in 2015. It was actually the first round. There was 5 teams between 2 and 6 that had won either 56 or 57 games.
Damn, 2-6 won 56, 57
Yeah,
games.
so we ended up through tiebreakers. Houston won 57. We won 56. And then 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, well, we were
Clippers at the time, Clippers?
Yes. We all had 56 wins. So we tied with the Spurs, but they were the 6th seed and they were the defending champs. And that was, that was still, Timmy was still there, Manu, Tony, Kawhi. And that was the hardest series I ever went through. Was the Brooklyn series, maybe the Phoenix series, was last year's Boston. Like, what for you so far, what has been the hardest in terms of the exhaustion, the preparation, the mental focus needed to compete in that environment?
I think for me personally, because if I'm just being honest, in the Brooklyn series, I didn't really play as much. Like, I got, 3, 4, same thing we've been talking about, DNP CDs. Like, if you're just being real, I didn't play as much in that series, but I kept my body right, kept my mind right, kept being a great teammate. So when it came back around to me, I was ready to start a couple games for Giannis in the next series to help us go to the finals. But me personally, probably the hardest series I played in that kind of made me a better player was last year against Boston. Obviously, their defensive schemes are different. They switch 1 through 5. They make it tough on you. They build a wall, things like that. I watched that film over and over and over in the summertime. And it helped me get my game better because obviously they're not going to let you just line it up from 3-point land. You're not just going to tee it up from 3-point land and just shoot them like that. You got to put off the balance a little bit. You got to play a little one-on-one sometimes and get behind the screener, slip the screen, get some easy ones, things like that. So for me personally, I had a lot of highs and lows in that series. Hit a game winner off the glass one time off an offensive rebound, this and that. But I think that was probably the hardest one for me.
I was going to ask about Game 5 against the Hawks. Just on a personal level, how gratifying that was for you. We talked about your sort of journey to get to that point, and this is you on the biggest stage, having one of the games of your life.
Loved it. So, it was crazy. That morning we woke up, and we had, shoot around. And Coach Bud know, I'm all, he ain't got to hype me up to get ready to go hoop or nothing like that. So we had shoot around. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready. Giannis out. Everybody's nervous, nervous, this and that. Coach Bud come up to me, hey, you starting tonight? I'm like, hell yeah, it's time. Let's go hoop. It's time, baby. And just all the hard work I knew I put in, I was already ready. I'm not scared of the big moment or nothing like that. And then went out there and had a good game, helped us win, heard some little Bobby chants. You know what I'm saying? And then it was lit, man. It was definitely a great moment, for my career as well, man. Just all the things I've been through. The year before I was with the Knicks, we didn't make the bubble. I'm at home for 8-9 months. And then for me to be in the final, in Eastern Conference Finals, watch all my favorite players play Eastern Conference Finals. KG is my favorite player all the time. I wear the wristband, I wear the armband like him. I try to bring energy to the game. Obviously, I'm not KG, but I try to be somewhat of a little ticket, not the big ticket. You know what I'm saying? So definitely it was a great experience and great time for me, man. Just to see everything I had coming to fruition.
Bobby, we appreciate the time. You've been an awesome guest, and I think for all basketball fans that don't have an allegiance to any team in the Eastern Conference, I would just say let's manifest a Bucks Celtics conference finals because I need that in my life. Please inject it into my veins.
That'll be fire for sure. And man, definitely blessed to be here. Thank you guys for having me come on. You know what I'm saying? The old man in the 3.
We appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? The old
Did you
man
live up
in
to the
3.
hype?
I definitely, yeah, for sure. I definitely can't believe that JJ remember me coming up to him.
Remember everything, bro.
Asking him to come on his podcast.
Years ago.
I think I was like 23 too, bro. I'm 28 now.
Once it gets in that brain, that's
Mental note. I made a mental note. I'm gonna make this crazy. Is when the timing is right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get Bobby Portis on the podcast.
Guess the time was right, baby.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you.